History rarely produces leaders who can bend the course of empires, and rarer still are the ones who do it against impossible odds. Among them stands Zenobia of Palmyra, a queen whose ambition burned through the sands of the Syrian desert and challenged the most powerful force in the ancient world. Her rise was meteoric, her rebellion was breathtaking, and her legacy remains one of the most dramatic stories of courage and defiance ever recorded. A city of sand, silk, and power. To understand Zenobia, one must first understand the world she ruled. Palmyra was a glittering oasis in the heart of the desert, a place where Roman marble met Eastern mysticism. Caravans arriving from Persia, India, Arabia, and the Mediterranean transformed the city into a jewel of global trade. Towering colonnades, bustling bazaars, and temples dedicated to a dozen deities created a city that looked more like a mirage than a settlement. Zenobia grew up in the middle of this multicultural world. Ancient writers describe her as astonishingly educated and eloquent, fluent in multiple languages, and equally comfortable in philosophical debates and military discussions. Yet her intellect was matched by a fierce spirit. She hunted, rode horses with incredible skill, and trained like a warrior long before she ruled like one. She carried herself with regal confidence and even claimed descent from Cleopatra VII, connecting herself to queens who once shaped the destiny of nations. A tragic turning of power. Her life changed when she married Odaenathus, the powerful ruler of Palmyra. At the time, Rome was sinking into the crisis of the 3rd century, collapsing under invasions, economic turmoil, and rapidly shifting emperors. Odaenathus became Rome's strongest ally in the east, crushing the Sassanid Persians and winning the titles and honors of a near equal to Roman royalty. Under him, Palmyra's influence stretched wider than ever before. But in 267 CE, Odaenathus was assassinated under mysterious circumstances, along with his eldest son. Whether it was political rivalry or internal betrayal, the result was the same. Zenobia suddenly found herself ruling as regent for her young son, Vaballathus. Many expected her to act as a caretaker. Instead, she became a force that would shake an empire. The queen with imperial dreams. Zenobia saw what others feared. Rome was crumbling from within. The frontier was being overrun by Goths, Persians, and rebel generals. Emperors rose and fell with dizzying speed. Where others saw chaos, Zenobia saw opportunity. She envisioned a new world where Palmyra stood not as Rome's servant, but as the ruler of a mighty Eastern empire. With extraordinary boldness, she consolidated her power. She reformed the army, strengthened alliances, and surrounded herself with brilliant advisors, including the philosopher Longinus. Her general Zabdas became her military right hand, and within a short time she transformed Palmyra from a regional kingdom into an expanding powerhouse. Her next steps would shock the Roman world: the conquest of Egypt. In 269 CE, Zenobia launched a bold campaign into Egypt, one of Rome's most valuable provinces. Egypt was more than territory. It was the empire's breadbasket and a symbol of its strength. The Roman prefect Tenagino Probus resisted her advance, but the Palmyrene forces under Zabdas crushed the opposition. Egypt fell under Zenobia's control, marking a stunning triumph that instantly elevated her status from regional queen to imperial challenger. With control of Egyptian grain and trade, Zenobia now had wealth, power, and legitimacy. She issued coins featuring both herself and her son, subtly presenting them as equals to the Roman emperor. Rome's silence only encouraged her further. An empire rising in the east? After Egypt, Zenobia expanded northward. Her armies swept through Syria and Palestine and conquered parts of Asia Minor, capturing major cities like Antioch and Tarsus. Her empire stretched across 2 continents, connecting deserts, mountains, and coastlines under her authority. In Palmyra, her court flourished as a center of culture and learning. Philosophers, scholars, and foreign dignitaries filled her palace. She embraced a vision of a vibrant, intellectual empire rooted in both Eastern and classical traditions. For a moment, Zenobia seemed unstoppable. an empress in everything but name. But in Rome, a new emperor had risen, and he was not a man to tolerate rivals. Aurelian, the emperor who would restore the world. When Aurelian took the Roman throne in 270 CE, he inherited a fractured empire. Yet he possessed the strength, discipline, and military genius needed to restore it. He first secured Rome's western provinces, defeating barbarian invasions and crushing internal rebellions. With the West stabilized, there was only one great threat left: Zenobia's rising empire in the east. Aurelian marched eastward with relentless determination. One by one, cities that had sided with Palmyra surrendered to him, driven by fear or persuaded by his offers of mercy. Zenobia's vast empire began to crack. The clash at Antioch and Emesa. The first great confrontation occurred near Antioch at a place called Ime. Zenobia's cavalry, known for speed and precision, has charged fiercely, but Aurelian outmaneuvered them with a strategic feigned retreat. When the Palmyrene horsemen pursued, the Roman forces circled and crushed them. It was a devastating defeat. Zenobia retreated to Antioch, but Aurelian pressed forward with unstoppable momentum. Another battle near Emesa further weakened her armies. Casualties mounted, morale crumbled, and the once vast Palmyrene forest dwindled. Zenobia withdrew to her capital, hoping Palmyra's formidable defenses would protect her. The siege of a desert stronghold. Palmyra was prepared for war. Its walls were tall, its storehouses filled, and its people ready to fight under their queen's command. Zenobia believed she could withstand a long siege, especially if her allies in Persia sent help. But Aurelian was patient. He surrounded the city, cut off its supplies, and squeezed it into desperation. Weeks turned into months, exhaustion set in, and no Persian reinforcements arrived. Facing starvation and the collapse of her defenses, Zenobia made a desperate decision. In a daring attempt to save herself and seek aid, she fled on a swift camel toward the Euphrates, hoping to reach Sassanid territory. But Roman riders intercepted her before she could escape. Her capture marked the end of Palmyra's resistance. The fall of Palmyra and Rome's revenge. Aurelian entered the city, and in a surprising display of restraint, he initially spared its people. Zenobia and her advisors, including the philosopher Longinus, were taken as prisoners. The city was shaken but not destroyed, but Palmyra's fate took a darker turn soon after. Believing Rome had weakened, the city rose in rebellion again, killing the Roman garrison left behind. This time, Aurelian returned with merciless fury. Palmyra was sacked, its temples destroyed, its monuments toppled, and its population scattered. The once great oasis city never again reclaimed its former glory. The Queen in Golden Chains. Zenobia's final chapter remains shrouded in mystery. She was taken to Rome and paraded in Aurelian's grand triumph, adorned in chains of gold that glimmered more like regal symbols than restraints. The spectacle served as a powerful message to anyone who might dare challenge the empire's authority. Some sources say she was executed afterward. Others claim she lived in comfort near Tiber, granted a villa and a new life far from the deserts she once ruled. Whichever version is true, her story did not end with her death, it began. Legacy of a Desert Empress. Zenobia's rebellion was short-lived, but her impact echoes across centuries. She transformed a desert city into the heart of a powerful empire. She stood against Rome at the height of its turmoil and nearly carved out a new world. Her leadership blended intelligence, courage, cultural sophistication, and military brilliance. Her ruins in Palmyra still whisper her name, reminding the world of a queen who refused to bow, a warrior who fought for independence, and a visionary who believed she could reshape history. Zenobia was more than a monarch. She was a symbol of ambition, strength, and the relentless pursuit of destiny. And that brings us to the end of the incredible story of Queen Zenobia, the fearless ruler who rose from the sands of the Syrian desert to challenge the greatest empire the ancient world had ever seen. If you enjoyed this journey into history's untold legends, make sure to hit that like and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep exploring the stories that shaped our world.